Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm spiritual coach Lisa Hopp. It is Sunday, May 4th, 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. I just had to smile because I believe it's a special day for those who love Star Wars. And so may all the force and love and blessings be with you today. For those of you who are new, please be sure to check out my website at lisahopp.com. I'm also on Instagram under Spiritual Coach Lisa Hopp, and I'm also on Facebook under my business page, Lisa M. Hopp, Spiritual Coach and Medium. And my Facebook business page does give you updates on my events coming up and links to join. So please follow that and check it out. And any platform you are on listening to this podcast today, thank you so very much. If you're on YouTube or other podcasts or platforms that can allow you to subscribe and share, please do so. I appreciate those who listen every week. And for those of you who are new, I hope that you will connect to this podcast today and go back and listen to all the older ones, and just grateful for all of you here. So today's topic is inspired by my own inner healing I've been going through. And today's topic is understanding your life's movie, because everything you see around you, every interaction, every pop-up, every experience you've created. You have written the script, and now the script is playing out in front of you. And that is great. That is so wonderful, because it gives you the opportunity to see what you want to change about the script, what you like and want to keep, and what you don't like and don't want to keep. And when you're in that place of really being more healed, really being able to view things from less of an emotional place, little wisdoms will pop up, lessons, new ways of looking at things. And that's the only way that can happen. It can't happen if you're in a state of sadness or anger or just feeling a lot of lack or anything that makes your vibration lower. When you're in a higher vibration because of healing, because you're feeling happier, because you're feeling more joyful, then you can get the what I call ahas. And this week I got ahas. and it's just great. So I want to share these ahas with you. And I'm always concerned that you'll think the healing I'm going through or the experiences I share were so large. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're very large. And sometimes they're just moments in time where you are disappointed, but not maybe scarred or hurt or, traumatized or anything like that. But they're still important. Every experience we go through, whether it is small, medium, or large, or extra large, is very important. So this week, forgiveness has been, I think it's been a trend in my appointments. It's so important right now to forgive. And first and foremost, to forgive yourself. And then to go about forgiving others. And yes, hopefully you know that forgiving others doesn't mean you just go back, you accept, you let them be in your life and like it never happened. No, forgiveness is an inside job. It's a gift to you. It gives you that healing. It removes those blocks. It brings you into a healthy place. And you do whatever you need to do to stay in that healthy place. So this week, while I was just minding my own business, going about life, I flashed back to a time when I was in my 20s and I still was working in what I call the corporate world. At the time it was the banking world. And I've spoken about this moment before where I had a group of people decide to play a trick on me. And I was going through so much at that time. They had no idea how really, I mean, some knew they were being mean and said, we got to stop. I won't partake in this. By just lying and lying and lying, making up things about things happening in others' lives and telling me about it. Like, just seeing what my reaction would be, just playing around. So some understood that was pretty mean. But others were kind of enjoying it until one, sending her, no matter where she is on earth, just compassion, was afraid I'd find out it was all a lie and needed something from me, and was afraid that she wouldn't get what she needed, which was simply put, a ride. She needed me to drive her somewhere, and she was afraid if she finds out about me, I might get stranded. Well, I'm not that type of person, but, guilt, her own consciousness should have handled that earlier. So anyway, so I go back to that time, and every once in a while it pops up for a review. And this time it came with such a clarity that it gave me a clearing that I hadn't had before. And that clarity was that these people, whether they meant to be players or not with this, were projecting back onto me the movie I was living. See, at the time, I was masking a lot. I was lying, or I'm just going to say the word lie, because it really was, I was projecting on a falsity about my life at the time. And it bounced back to me like a boomerang from them. They were only showing me who I was. Now, that doesn't mean I was a gossip at a time or harmful to people or doing anything they projected back to me. I really wasn't. But I was living in a state of lie. And you see, I thought, wow, yes, I only got bounced back who I was at the time. They were just playing a part of being a part of my mind movie. So I actually had a meeting with them in meditation. I forgive you, and I forgive myself for that time when I didn't know what I was doing, when I was young, when I was going through so much and didn't even know who I was, let alone what kind of life to create for myself. And I just was trying to fit in and be happy. It's really all about, I was just trying to be happy. So happiness meant really, truly not living in a full state of truthfulness. Cleared. Yay. And you could have HR meetings with people in your past. I had an HR meeting with people in my past recently, in the last couple of days, about all this. And here's the thing, one person, I don't even remember her name. I just remember that I let her down. And so I went back. I remember slightly her face. So I went back to that energy and I apologized. I let you down. You counted on me and I wasn't of my word. Now this was back in the 1990s, okay? And who knows, she probably hasn't thought about that in forever. And if she has, I just healed it through the apology that she will receive energetically. But back to the lack of truthfulness, the mindset, the mind movie. Another aha I got the very same time that I got that first moment that I just shared with you. This other moment was, I was just 16 going on 17 years old. And I shared that I would be getting a car. Yes, I was, and it was true. It was true. But one person that I had always thought was a friend, was a friend in junior high, was always in my class because of our last names, the homeroom. They didn't believe me. They said that wasn't true. Sure, Lisa. And I didn't understand why they thought I would lie, because at 16, 17, I'm not really a liar. I don't call myself being one. And so I've never understood where that came from. It didn't fit with the other moment at all, because I now can see my part in that. But at that age, I had no part. I was just I had a little actress in me. I was in a play, but I really wasn't trying to be what, not at least in that moment. But you know what? I just thought of this with you all. I did have a moment. I did have a moment in that time where I was trying to be, and you might have all gone through this too. I was trying to fit in with a crowd. And I led them to believe that there would be a great party at my house. But I didn't really think they'd believe me. Not the way they thought the party would be. And I was just going along. So yes, I also, in some way, being someone who was trying to fit in at that time, but much lesser so, was also not living authentically. But I want to also say this, and the reason I went to share it with you is the aha that I got about that moment with the car. Is that person who didn't believe me was living a lie at that time. And I realized that. It's like maybe they expected everyone to be lying around them, to not be telling the truth, because they knew who they were. So can it be a blend then? Of course. It can be your mind movie projecting back to you what you're putting out, but also in the script are what people expect as well from where they are. You have to know all the characters, all of them. Now, here's the thing. My 16, 17-year-old self should adjust, and I wasn't deeply hurt by it was more confused. But if I had been in a complete, confident, great self-esteem, full mindset, it would have bounced right off of me. I would have been like, what's up with you, dude? Right? I would have not even let it impact me at all. But it must have impacted me because over 40 years later, it still pops up. Not every day, not every month, not every year, but it still pops up. So it pops up, and it's a memory that is not a good one for you, not the best memory, then it needs to be healed. And so you go at it, you do the healing. So I had a meeting with him. Now, by the way, we have been together in our adulthood. There are pictures of us, with our arms around each other, smiling and very generous towards me. We're fine, okay, in adulthood. And we were fine as young, as teenagers as well. It was just a moment where I didn't understand why he would call me a liar. And of course that car showed up because I wasn't lying. And he saw. We never talked about it. But there it was. I had no reason to not tell the truth about that. And you see, it doesn't have to be a huge lie. It can be a white lie. It can be a lie of, as I was as a teenager, a more of an innocent lie. Oh, I would do that, sure. And then you're like, oh, I don't know if I would do that. I bet a lot of you have been there before, because we grow into who we are. And then we start being more authentic with ourselves, hopefully. I'm all authentic now. I can't lie. And the thing is, and I get nervous about being put in a position where I might be torn about that, because, we're always in situations where we don't want to do harm by telling the truth. And I mean that simply, about it. The white lies, for instance. You look great in that lie, Don't ask me. And so, I cannot. And I like that I have to tell truth, and it bothers me when people are not telling the truth. But it bothers me when people aren't telling the truth because of the past. Because I was accused of not telling the truth before. So don't tell me, don't lie about me, or don't lie to me now. Because it's not good. It's not a good feeling. And I won't have it. And so it's all a little spin of all the life experiences that we've been through. But this is priceless stuff, guys. Because if you can notice your interactions with people, if you can notice why events happen, you don't blame yourself. You're not negative. You're not unloving. You're always kind. But how did you participate? What is the universe trying to show you? What is yet to be healed? Now, sometimes people will say, I'm trying to manifest the best. I'm thinking positive. I'm feeling positive. I'm doing all my healing. But there are things happening around me I don't like. Those things were already created. They're just playing out. Just stay with it. But then in those little whispers, there's a pop-up of who you were, who you still are to some small degree. And do you want to do more clearing out? I do. And the HR meeting I spoke with, it's on a deep meditation. I breathed up and out for a few times, and then I went to different scenarios. I went and saw that person when they were 16 years old and I was 16. We met in a classroom. By the way, I didn't choose that. That's how authentic it was. I didn't choose the place. I just chose the timeline. And so we met in a classroom. We sat at desks across from each other. And we just had a smallest little chat. It was just moments. And then I went to, as I told you before, the group of people. And I went to that time frame in that building. And I gathered them together to just speak to all of them as a group. And then it occurred to me about friendship after that. Because it just popped up to be, it was like the next extension. Now, it wasn't even directly connected to the two moments. And then over the last 12 hours, 24 hours, different moments popped up where, I wasn't the best friend in that moment. Let me get together with them. And also let me thank them for being a great friend to me. Of the past, went back to the past. Not knowing if they're on earth or not, it doesn't matter. I met up with them. The energy connected. The moment really happened. And I got excited. Because whenever my inner work is working, is helping, is healing, you feel it. And the minute I met with the young woman that I disappointed in the 1990s, the moment I met with a coworker, two coworkers actually, that were friends, and had a chat. One I know is gone from Earth. I felt so much lighter. I felt like my timeline had shifted. And that's the truth. Whenever you go back and internally heal something from the past, it not only changes the energy and timeline of the past, it affects your present and your future. You literally jump timelines into a more healed one, into a more successful one, into a more prosperous one, a healthier one. That's time travel. I've seen posts where people say you can't go back in time and change it. Yes, you can. Don't believe that. You can. You can literally change a situation, jump the timeline, and that new situation is part of your timeline, your lifeline. So you'll notice it because you have shifted through the healing. Your life has to shift as well, so it rebalances, reproportions things that have happened to you. It goes back and corrects them. And sometimes you get evidence of it. You might get an apology out of nowhere. You might have a door open up that wasn't open before. But that's the shifting through the healing that took place. So, to be clear, though you're welcome to email for clarity if you'd like. Let's say you had an argument with someone in the past, just an example, and you go back and you have a conversation within your own mind with them that resolves the argument, for the best for both involved, all right? Not just them telling you what you want to hear, but peace comes in some way, understanding on both parts. You have now cleared out your life for better relationships, better health, and better wealth because it was resolved, whether you actually spoke to them or not, because you upped the energy. You cleared out that weight, that block, that scar. So, and I'm being intuitively led to say this. You can do that with people you're not talking to today. Because I know too many people that are not speaking to family members that they love so much, and it is so painful. You can talk to them within your own mind, your own energy. You can go back to the moment where the cutoff occurred. Even if you're not sure when it occurred, just around the moment. And send them love and understanding. Unconditional love, unconditional understanding. And that will heal up your life. And it may mean that it has the strongest potential to heal things up between you, and it may mean that it does. As long as both wills, all wills, are in agreement to do that. Because sometimes people just want to be where they are. But no, even if they're where they are and don't want to have harmony with you and reconciliation, you still heal up your life for the better by doing that. We can cure and heal anything. Nothing. Anything. Though some things are, some things are a tool. Some illnesses are a tool about transition and such. But even so, We have the capacity to heal anything, and it doesn't mean we should. It doesn't mean that if it's not healing, it's your fault. It just means we do have that capacity. So what does your life movie look like today? How are your relationships? How's your health? How's your money? Do you feel lack? Do you live paycheck to paycheck? Do you worry that money will run out? Change your script. Forgive yourself for the moment that you put yourself in the spot, or the person who gave it to you that put yourself in the spot that said money might run out. It is worth it to do that inner work, to acknowledge when these honest ahas happen. And the wonderful thing is everyone around you benefits, you most of all, but everyone does. So it's a win-win. The person I met with, for a moment we had at 16, 17. There's another one actually I have to meet with them about. This podcast today is giving me ahas. But that person benefited off of that meeting too. They were there. We chose the meeting place. And so they benefit in some way too. And wow, isn't that wonderful? Maybe they'll come into an abundant, drop now. Download. Maybe their relationship area opens up more. Maybe they get the house they've been wanting. Whatever it may be, I am very happy to have participated. So you see, it's like we're all one, and we're all impacted by each other. So the happier you are, the more peaceful you are, the wholeness that you feel inside, it's not just about you. It helps everyone. It's really the way to bring peace on earth, is to feel peace and wholeness within. Happiness on earth, happiness within. And you can't fake it. You have to see what's blocking it and go really work on getting rid of those blocks. And it's a process. It's a lifelong process. And that's, it's not, you can have overnight miracles. But overall, it's a lifelong process. The other scene I have to heal with that person is that they let me down, but I didn't know their story because they weren't being truthful. And they didn't have to be truthful with me. They weren't being their young selves could have handled a moment better where they didn't want to tell me everything because they didn't feel comfortable. But not knowing sometimes hurts more than knowing, right? Or maybe you don't hurt at all because you know. There's another little moment. But again, it's like, this time though, I feel like I'd be helping them even more. And that's okay. That is all right. There is I don't use it currently, but there is a Mind Movies website that manifestors sometimes like to use, where you can set up pictures and music and design it yourself, where you concentrate on the life script, the life pictures that you want. I would imagine as well that you could do that yourself through other designing devices. But, think about that, because the more you concentrate on hearing every thought and making sure it's what you want, and every feeling is what you want, and everything playing out is what you want, not only will you be more in control of your life, which we all love, we all want to be, but you'll also see it working out for you better and better. It's really the only way to have the greatest achievements. So think about that movie and deliberately designing it and working on those moments that block you from the ultimate abundance in every way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that connected with you in some way. Please be sure again to check out my website at lisahop.com, and also find me on Facebook under my business page, and follow, like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and on all the other platforms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you all more than you know. A wonderful, blessed Sunday, a wonderful week. I'll talk to you next time.